Hello, my kittywinks. Well, it's story time. Now, I did tell you we've got quite a thick, large book to read this week, and it's full of Easter stories. There's 23 little stories in here, but there's not many pictures. So I will show you the ones that are in here, but there's not many. So to make up for that, I thought we could get some participation going, and you can join in helping me to tell the stories. So I want you, in this first story, it's called Jesus Rides a Donkey Down the Hill. Now I want you to say "ee-aw" when we mention the donkey, and shout hooray and moan at the appropriate places. Okay, so you've got to shout "ee-aw" every time I mention a donkey, and you've got to shout hooray as well. Okay, so here's the first story. Jesus rides a donkey down the hill. "I need a donkey," said Jesus to his friends. "I need a donkey. Ee-aw." Did you do it? And if the owner of the donkey should ask you what you're doing, say, "I need to ride the donkey down the hill. I need to ride the donkey down the hill." So Jesus' friends went to find a donkey. They went to find a donkey. "Ee-aw." And when the owner asked, they simply answered, "Jesus needs to ride the donkey down the hill. Jesus needs to ride the donkey down the hill." Then Jesus' friends put a cloak onto the donkey. A cloak, not a saddle. Ee-aw. Then Jesus climbed on and headed for Jerusalem. And Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. And Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. The people were surprised when they saw him on the donkey. And when they saw him on the donkey, "ee-aw," then they remembered a promise from a prophet, about a king who rides a donkey down a hill. About a king who rides a donkey down the hill. So the people cheered when they saw him on the donkey, and the people cheered, "Hooray!" They cried, "Hosanna! Save us, Lord!" as Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. As Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. Then they laid their cloaks in front of the donkey, and then they laid down palm branches too. Hooray! And they treated Jesus just like a king, as Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. As Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. But the religious leaders grumbled and groaned. They cursed and they swore and they moaned. "You're no king," they cried. "You're nobody special." As Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. As Jesus rode the donkey down the hill. "Say what you like," called Jesus to the leaders. "Be as stubborn as donkeys. Ee-aw." If these stones could speak, they'd join with the people and cheer the one who rides the donkey down the hill. And cheer the one who rides the donkey down the hill. Story number 2. Now, when Jesus speaks to the workers at the temple, I want you to say, "We're very sorry." Okay, story number 2. Jesus knocks down the tables in the temple. When Jesus arrived in Jerusalem, the first thing he did was visit the temple. But when he got there, he saw something that made him very sad. There were poor people who had come a long way to worship God. They had doves with them, the very best they could find, and they wanted to give them to God as a way of saying thank you for his love. But the men who worked at the temple would not let them do that. "We're very sorry," they said, "but the doves you have bought are not good enough for God. You have to buy these special temple doves." And they pointed to a bench that was covered with cages. The poor people set down their own doves and fumbled around for what few coins they could find. "We're very sorry," said the temple workers once again. "We don't take ordinary coins here. You have to use special temple money to buy the special temple doves." And they pointed to a table that was covered with coins. So the poor people sighed and changed their money, but for every 2 coins they gave, they only got 1 coin back. "You've cheated us," they cried, and the temple workers just grinned. "We're very sorry," they said for the 3rd time. "But those are the rules. Now stop your moaning and get on with your business." Jesus was no longer sad. No, Jesus was angry now. In fact, he was furious. These poor people had come to worship God, and they were being cheated in every way they turned. So Jesus did something that no one expected, something that no one had ever done before. What do you think that was? He turned over the tables of the money changers. He knocked down the benches full of doves, and as the coins clattered and flew out onto the floor and the birds flew free from their cages, Jesus cried, "God's temple should be a place of prayer, but you have made it a hideout for cheats and thieves." Oh, he really was angry. The poor people cheered when they heard what Jesus said, but the money changers and the bird sellers and all the other cheats were very angry. And so were the religious leaders who had been watching all along. "We need to do something about this man," they grumbled. "We need to stop him now." And that was just the beginning of Jesus' troubles.